How do you handle taxes as a translator? Coming up. Hello and welcome back to the Freelanceverse. Thanks for coming back to the channel. Sorry for the hiatus last week. I needed a little break, but now I'm back with a new video. And today's video is about taxes for freelancers. Don't click off yet. I'm going to try to make this as exciting as possible, as interesting as possible. I know it can be a bit of a drag, this topic, but it's really important. I mean, if you don't do it, you will be in big trouble. So it's best to understand how taxes work for freelancers before you start, so you never get into any troubles. Now, of course, before I even go into any details in this video, it's very important that you look into the tax law in your own country where you're living, right? So usually you are obliged to pay tax where your center of life is. So wherever you live for extended periods of time is where you pay taxes. Of course, I can't make a video about all different tax jurisdictions. So for me, this video is going to be very Europe specific, more specifically Belgium specific. So if that interests you, please watch along. But I think even if you live somewhere else on another continent, it can be interesting, you know, to learn how I manage my taxes, how I deal with it on a monthly basis. If you're employed, a lot of the tax bureaucracy is done for you by your employer. For us independents, for us freelancers, this is not the case. You have to do it yourself. At least the least you have to do is hire someone to do it for you, right? But you definitely have to take some kind of action, otherwise nothing will happen. And once you fully register as a freelancer officially and you work officially self-employed, then you have to pay taxes and also social security. So you definitely need to worry about that. Or let's say not worry, you have to take care of that before you, I'm not going to say before you start working, because it's fine to already get going. I don't want you to get bogged down with taxes before you start. You know, you can just get going and, you know, you're not going to immediately earn a lot of money, right? So it's fine if you along the way register also all your tax and all your legal things. So you don't need to do all of it and then start. You can already start in parallel. The two taxes I have to deal with as a freelancer in Belgium is the personal income tax and the VAT, the value added tax. So on everything you're buying, you pay VAT. So on everything I'm selling within Belgium, I also have to charge VAT and then, you know, calculate the difference in the end of the month, whether I have to pay or whether I get some back. So when I have Belgian clients, I have to charge VAT, 21% VAT on my invoice. For all my international clients, I don't have to do that. There are agreements, so you can, you just need to write a little sentence on your sales invoice that says that the value added tax is dealt with in the recipient country. So then that is exempt, so I don't have to charge for that. In Belgium, you can register either as a company or as a sole trader. I'm a sole trader. Most freelancers are sole traders. There is potential to go to set up a legal structure as a company, but then you really need to make a lot of revenue. And even then, I looked into it once and my accountant said it's not really worth it for me. Even though there would be some tax benefits, because there are two types of taxes. There is the company tax and the personal income tax. And if you are set up as a company, you pay the company tax, 20%, and then the rest is personal income tax. So you save a bit on taxes, because what I do now as a self-employed, I'm liable with my own assets, with my personal money, and I pay only personal income tax, and it can go quite high in Belgium, unfortunately. It's one of the highest taxed countries in Europe, but luckily we also get a lot of benefits from it. I really see, mostly I really see where it's getting invested, so that's cool. Here in Belgium, you are obliged to prepay your taxes. So I pay my taxes every quarter. At least after the first couple of years, you are obliged to prepay them. This is calculated based on an estimated sales revenue that you will have. I usually calculate the revenue a bit higher than expected, so that I have to pay a bit more taxes than I will eventually have to pay, because I prefer to get money back as a tax refund rather than paying more later on. So yeah, I work with an accountant since the beginning. I've worked with one, so he does all my tax declaration. So I just tell him how much I expect to earn this year, and then I have to prepay my taxes accordingly. And then in April the following year, I get a tax refund, and it's always super nice to get this money back, even though it's technically my money, I know, but I don't know, it feels nice to just get feels like free money when just money comes in for no reason, and you don't even have to pay tax on it because it's already taxed. So that's always a nice surprise every spring. There are 4 progressive tax brackets in Belgium. Unfortunately, the brackets are relatively low, so rather quickly you're already in the highest taxed bracket. I think if you earn more than 50k a year, you're already in the top bracket, which is not that much, and yeah, I've been in that bracket ever since, I think, since I came here. So it's unfortunate that they are so low because, they say, oh, the more you earn, the more taxes you pay, but not really, because most people make quickly more than 50k, and then everyone is in the highest tax bracket. Everyone is entitled to a tax-free amount of 10,910 euros. How it works is a bit complicated because it's not like, oh, the first 10,000 you don't pay taxes. It's actually deducted from your tax burden. So they calculate the taxes with all their formulas, and then the tax-free amount gets deducted at the end. That's nice. Also, for people that do this as part-time, or just make some money on the side, it's often the case that they don't reach 10,000, and then it's tax-free. So that's super cool. If you're trading under your own name, taxes don't only go up all the time, right? They can also come down. Speaking of deductibles, anything that's related to your business is deductible. Let's put that as a blanket statement, right? And then there are some cases, some are 100% deductible, some 75%, some not at all, but at least everything that's somehow connected to your business, you should give to your accountant, or if you do it on your own, you should deduct it in your tax declaration. Try everything, really. I'm trying, even if I just buy a book, I think, is this somehow related to my business? And if yes, I send the invoice to my accountant. He then checks if it's actually deductible or not. But me, I just collect every single receipt that I get from, when I go out to a coffee shop for working, all the expenses there are done. If I go have dinner with someone that's business related, I keep the receipt for the whole dinner, and I send it to my accountant. So you need to look out for yourself. So try to deduct as much as you can. In some countries, you can even deduct some home expenses if you're working at home, because technically this is your office, right? So even some parts of the heating or the electricity is deductible. The internet, the whole office setup, screens, keyboards, desk, even clothes, business clothes is deductible. So think of everything that's remotely related to your business, and it's getting quite broad, and then send it out to the accountant or do it on your own. I definitely recommend getting an accountant. If you're living somewhere where I've had experience in Switzerland, Netherlands, and Belgium, I can definitely recommend getting one. You can definitely do it on your own, but it's just the amount of work. It's not really outweighing the price I pay for my accountant. So and I'm sure that he deducts everything possible. He knows all the ins and outs to get me the best deal. Find someone you can trust that has your best interest in mind, and then I think it's the best solution. Value-added tax, VAT, as I already mentioned, within Belgium, I have to charge it in my invoice. And then everything that I buy that has a VAT on it. So if I buy a new laptop, it has a considerable amount, because let's say the laptop is 1,500 euros and 21% VAT is a lot, right? So I have to pay that. But then when I send my invoice to the accountant, the paid VAT is then in the end converted and calculated with the one that I charged, and then I can claim it back, which is super cool. So sometimes I get VAT refunds of like 400-500 euros, and then sometimes I have to pay additional VAT to the state, but that has never been a lot. It has mostly been, the most it's ever been was 100 euros or something. So as a sole trader, the VAT is relatively low, especially for freelance translators, because we often don't have clients in our own country. The VAT I only have to charge if it's Belgian clients. Keep that in mind. For me, I have, I think, currently 2 Belgian clients, 1 agency, 1 direct client, where I charge VAT. All the rest is just the sales amount, and that's it. The VAT is done in the recipient's country. There you go. That's more or less the tax structure, how I make sure that I always have enough money to pay the taxes, because it's not like the employed people that get the net salary, right? We get the paid invoice, which includes gross. So I I have a separate account within my banking app where it's called Taxes and Social Security. Every month I put money on there. It accumulates, so there is always, I don't know, a couple of €1,000 on there. And then when the tax prepayment comes, when the Social Security prepayment comes, I take it from there and I continuously put money on there and out. So I know this is not my money. And then at the end of the year, if there is still money on this account, then it's mine because everything is paid, right? Usually I end up with having like, maybe €2,000, I don't know, a couple €1,000 on there at the end of the year that I put away too much, let's say. And then I know, okay, now it's mine. It can come back into my account. So that's really cool. And with that strategy, it also doesn't hurt too much the amounts I have to pay because I know this money is not mine anyways. I like the structure. I can only recommend to separate your invoices, separate your banking. Also have a business and a private bank account. And then within that, you can set up usually separate accounts for taxes to save. And that also accumulates a little bit of interest, but not much. I mean, I'm not advocating for interest on bank accounts. There are different ways to earn interest. But yeah, that's my setup. I hope this was interesting to you, and thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. And I see you next Monday with the next video. Bye-bye.